Clay Guida, man. Listen, the Carpenter is back. He's fighting Leonardo Santos, who's coming off a devastating loss to Grant Dawson, man. Lost with like 3 seconds left, in the fight. A fight he was clearly winning. Grant Dawson was doing a desperation thing, and he just took the round off. And you can't rest on your laurels, man. We say it all the time. But Clay Guida, he's coming off of a controversial-ish split decision loss to Marco Madsen, the Olympian. I don't think it was very controversial, but I do think it was a loss. So Clay Guida is looking to bounce back. Leo Santos is fighting somebody his age this time around, not a young gun. So this could be a little more competitive of a matchup, just in terms of like the olds head back-to-back, AJ. But this is going to be a tough one for Guida. He's going to have to get in, man. 5'7" to 6 foot is the disadvantage in terms of the height, man. So that's what, 5-inch height disadvantage in terms of the reach. 5-inch reach disadvantage. Leo Santos, man, prior to his last loss, hadn't lost since 2009. This dude's been doing it forever. He's an old man, Listen, he's 41 years old. Clay Guida is no young, spry chicken either. He's 39. Let me ask you before we break down this fight, AJ, what does a win do for either of these fighters? Like, I don't really necessarily see this fight having much of a, this was high stakes. Like, what are the stakes in this matchup?
I think the stakes are a little higher for Santos than Guida on this one. I feel like if Clay gets the win, it's like, another legend still in the game, still proving people wrong, kind of a little bit more expected. Where if Santos gets this win, a lot more people are going to know his name. I feel like Santos, even though he was in the same Ultimate Fighter as like Costa, he just got outshined by a lot of other fighters, and he's been doing it for a long time, man. Like you said, undefeated since 2000, or last loss since 2009. Even though I think he lost on the Ultimate Fighter, but either way, it was an execution fight, so it doesn't really count, even though it counts. But I think if if Santos gets this done, it just propels him in the eyes of the fans more than anything. Because if you get one on Clay Guida, man, that's one of those victories you hang up on the shelf. You're like, I beat that dude, because that's a hell of a win.
You do, but Clay Guida got 21 losses on his record, brother. So after a while, it starts to mean less and less, man. No disrespect, but he is a plus 160 underdog for a reason, man. Leo Santos is minus 190 favorite. And the reason why I believe is because he's tall, he's long, he's lanky, and he fights like that, man. Nice jab, nice long straight punches, mixes it up to the head, the body, and the calf very well. So he's hitting everything, man. He's just targeting boom, 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 boom. Where do you want it? I'll give it to you. BJJ black belt, amazing grappler, didn't use it much in his last fight, man. But I think that, listen, man, Grant Dawson was a young killer who's known for shooting 30 seconds into the fight. Clay Guida is a great wrestler who has relentless cardio, but he's an older man. So if Leo Santos was able to take down or stuff the majority of the takedowns on Grant Dawson, a young gun, I mean, don't you think he'd be able to do that versus Clay Guida? Like, to me, is my MMA logic kind of lining up there? Or do you think Clay Guida is still that relentless wrestler, man? We saw him try to do it against Marco Madsen, try to do a little bit of wrestling, but neither of those guys wanted to really engage there. What do you think?
I don't necessarily think Clay Guida is going to be choosing to take down more than anything. I think he's going to be working the pressure, working the in and out, staying light on his feet, nice and bouncing. If the shot presents itself, then he'll take it. I do think he's the better wrestler than Santos going forward, but I feel like if there's any chance for Guida to win this fight, it's going to be outpacing and outpointing Leonardo Santos, getting him to miss, sneaking up on the inside, piecing up a couple to the body, one to the head, and then getting out before Santos even knows what hit him. Yeah. That's Clay Guida's style. He's very fast, he's very efficient, and he's bouncy, able to get that done. But with a guy who Santos is just so long, and Santos has this very snappy front kick too that can just keep your wrestlers at bay, just keep pushing you out, using it like a jab. It's going to be hard to see, but Clay might outpace Santos. Don't get it twisted.
Well, listen, man, you just described a classic Clay Guida victory right there. If he can get it done that way, I just think it's easier said than done, man. This lightweight division, even though they're old dogs, Leo Santos, when he was fighting Dawson, he looked like he had never come off a layoff, man. He did not look like a 40-year-old fighter whatsoever. So I think if he sticks behind the long, straight punches, and he just mixes it up very well, keeps that bottom game and that takedown defense crispy, it's going to be a long night at the office for Clay Guida, who is 2-3 in his last 5, 16-15 in the UFC, man. So if he loses, he will now get moved down to 500 in the UFC, 16-16. It'll be interesting to see, man. But I'm picking Leo Santos. The over-under is 2.5 rounds. I think this one goes to the over. It's very hard to finish Clay Guida. I think this goes to a decision in favor of Leo Santos. What about you, brother? How are you going? Over, under, and who wins?
Yeah, I'm going with the over. I think this one's going to decision. Santos just has the style and the build to beat Guida on this one, man. As much of a fan as I am of Clay, it's hard to pick him in this one. I just think Santos is going to be leading the dance, and while Guida's trying to stay on the outside, but as a shorter guy trying to fight a taller guy, you don't fight on the outside. So I'm going Santos by decision. It's going to be a hard uphill battle, and I think the odds makers have it correct on this one as well.